My friends, my family, esteemed colleagues, I'm just writing an article based on now experience of one of my clients who was born young man who is now suffering actually from complete heart block. Now this actually, it's actually a medical term, complete heart block. Now how did he get there? He's 20 years old. And they say, well, a heart, like everything else in our body, through years of abuse and use, starts falling apart. And, you know, the complete heart block is part of this step-by-step deterioration of the body. Now, this client is 20 years old, just got 20. When he first contacted me was a few months ago, he was still 19. And actually his problem was terrible skin. Skin was really scaly, turned into scales that were very itchy, and when he scratched himself, bad smelling liquid was coming out like a pus. So after consultation, I have discovered that he was born with a heart abnormality, anomaly. And this was misfolded heart. Now, of course, doctors need to find something more complex so they sound more professional. So they gave this thing a name of a disease, congenitally corrected transposition of great arteries. Mouthful. Well, what happens actually? During development, a heart, which is basically a bag, folds and partitions. And it gets two atriums and two ventricles. But the two ventricles are actually one ventricle that was folded and in such a way that the septum was created, separating two parts of it. When heart pumps, we have a one impulse that is starting in sinoatrial complex. In ventricle, compresses, and then atrium compresses. So both ventricles compresses simultaneously, and then both atriums, and then both ventricles. It's a one sheet, misfolded. Now, sometimes, it's very rare, sometimes the folding may have a problem. And we call it, in this case, that it is congenital. You know, it came from the genetic part, and it's corrected by the body. Now, how congenitally corrected transposition? Well, what happens that the ventricles at the atrium receive the blood, and then when they squeeze, one atrium shoots the blood into one side of the heart, one into the other side of the heart. And when the heart squeezes, now the blood goes to the lungs, or it goes to the rest of the body. Actually, one atrium is directing the blood. One atrium is receiving the blood from the lungs and one from the rest of the body. And then after it squeezes, goes into the ventricle, and ventricle then shoots it. One of the parts shoots it into the lungs and one through the body. Now when ventricle squeezes, when it sends the blood, the part that goes into lungs, it's a smaller pressure. So this part of the heart always stays a little weaker. Now the part that is shooting the blood through main artery and through the body, it's the left part which gets stronger, larger. Muscle increases in the size because it has to pump stronger. It has more work to do. Needs higher pressure. Well, what we are being told that, in this congenitally corrected heart problem, the wrong artery is being supplied by the wrong ventricle. And actually, then the right ventricle is shooting the blood into the body, and the left ventricle shoots blood to the heart or to the lungs, which should be the opposite. Yeah, it may be complicated. It's easier to show it. Basically, the left part of the heart, which should be stronger and should be getting blood into the body, is now smaller and is getting blood into the lung, and the right part, right ventricle, is doing the opposite, which now, because it is meant to be smaller, doctors believe that this in time is going to deteriorate heart faster, and heart will have problems that will stop. But we know better. If you follow my work, then you will understand that basically you give muscle more work, it gets larger and stronger. Now, why is the heart misfolding? Because it is living in toxic body, supplied by toxic blood, by toxic frequencies that can be generated through the food, but they can be generated also through emotional state of the mother. In any way, we have learned that on cellular level, if there is an energetic problem, well, the muscle is not going to be strong, especially if it's toxic. So this is toxicity of the blood, comes from mother. Mother is not eating correctly, maybe medicated. We have been told you cannot medicate pregnant women. If you do, be careful. Definitely no vaccination. Now everything is opposite. Just kill the sucker. But doctors don't think. We are not meant to think. We are being reprogrammed not to think. Just follow the science and obey the science the way as it is served to you on a plate. Don't even attempt thinking, because you can never know better than the experts, right? So nobody's thinking. Everybody's following the leader. And since we have been told that body will deteriorate, and now you have an opposite heart function. So gotta strengthen it, medicate it. Well, how can you strengthen? If you would know how to strengthen anything with medication, would be great. But we know that the results are always opposite, because every medicine is toxic. So you have now toxic body, toxic baby being born, that is exhibiting already problems because of toxicity. And now you discover that, well, there is a change in the heart. Now the right ventricle is a little larger than the left ventricle. It should not be. It's the opposite. It's misfolded. It's a problem. Well, So you start poisoning the body. And yes, my client, as a young, was suffering already from problems of breathing, and problem was actually almost allergic. Okay. Now, by medicating the child and eating the wrong food, because child eats what mother eats, so the toxicity goes on. The organ cannot heal. It tries, but it can't, because now he is a heart patient, 0 salt. How can he cleanse? How can he hydrate? So he's putting right away in a state of destruction by recommendation coming from the mouth of the experts. And he actually came to me because he has a very bad skin problems. Skin was terrible. So he told me that, he was having little problems. So all of a sudden, rashes start coming up, little spots. So he was medicated now for those spots. Now, what do we know by now? That skin is being used as a third cleansing organ when body is low on water, on plasma. So, as he is already dehydrated, he cannot eat salt. He's forbidden eating salt. He eats wrong foods, cannot cleanse, is continuing being poisoned. So now body is doing the best it can and tries to get rid of some of the toxins through the skin, which creates rashes. Now you are being poisoned, he is being poisoned more with medications for these rashes. So now skin is getting really bad. His skin is really looking terrible. You will see it. I'm going to write an article and I will publish some of the pictures there. So now the toxicity is getting so high that he is going into heart arrhythmia. Now doctors right away say, heart arrhythmia, but he has congenital heart problem. This is normal phase of deterioration of already existing genetically activated problem. So they start medicating this crap. Now why is the arrhythmia? Because body is trying desperately to cleanse and sometimes accelerates the heart just to make it faster, because maybe he drank little milk or maybe he drank a little bit of water. So now they can use it and push something out. But as soon as this excitement goes away, heart goes down and actually beats even slower because it's in toxic environment. So the experts, as the heart is exhibiting strange behavior, calling problems, the experts decided to install pacemaker to now program the heartbeat. Now he's with his pacemaker, but now he started cleansing. He started changing a diet. Now as he changed the diet, he started feeling better. So immediately he said, okay, I'm going to give it a shot and I'm going to try to drink plasma, because he was deadly afraid of salt. As he started drinking plasma, the skin started getting better. Itchiness went away. But as soon as the second part of the protocol clicked in, which is the cellular involvement, cellular hydration and detox, huge amount of toxins start shooting into the blood. So his lung problems, since he had lung problems, bad toxicity, now he's throwing up toxic mucus mixed with blood. makes difficulty of breathing. All this toxic buildup now in the blood accelerates the heart even more. Because of difficulty now in breathing, because of this, we start even using little diuretic just to help to eliminate toxic blood faster and try to get some of the liquid out of the lungs. But you really cannot do it because this is not a water retention. This is not liquid retention. The lungs are built up with mucus, toxic stuff that is coming out. Now the smart doctors, because he had a little difficulty in breathing, so they gave him diuretics. Well, still, it cannot 100% alleviate the problem because cleansing continues. Now, doctors know nothing about cleansing. But what is happening now? Heart wants to accelerate because it gets plasma, and it needs to speed up circulation to get rid of these toxins. But the pacemaker says, no, no, tap, tap, tap. So the heart wants to go, so it goes, and then the pacemaker goes tap, tap. And now he has double beat, tap. So now the experts wants to burn the synovial signal maker. So this way, the heartbeat, natural heartbeat, does not interfere with programmed pacemaker. So now, if they do this, and if pacemaker croaks, which happens all the time, there goes the life of the patient. This is how doctors, from little glitch, create a huge problem of destroying the whole body, including the heart. Because the congenitally corrected transposition of the great arteries, basically you have ventricles that are misproportionate. Well, they will adjust with working of the body. Wherever is more pressure needed, more oxygen needed, this is going to grow strength of the muscle and increase it. There is no problem. Unless we get involved to try to correct something that was done because of the environment. Now we are poisoning the environment even more and trying to correct it with some bull medication. It never works. Never ever. What doctor touches, body cannot fix. So, here we are again. Doctors pride themselves. Oh, we are extending the quality of someone's life. This is not true. You are misled. Well, we are misled, but at least some of us are waking up and thinking. Unfortunately, it's maybe 0.5% of us. The rest, they are full of their diploma, wall crowded with them, proudly showing what they are worth, when actual worth is zero. Forget this stuff. Zero. Zero. I don't know how to show you zero without 3 fingers, okay? So don't be stupid. Those of you who are so much into the symbology. There is no way to fix this medicine. We have to nuke it. Bingo! And start fresh. And this is going to happen now with the tapping of this whole system. There is no way to fix this knowledge. Doctors cannot help anybody. Now when the true healing starts, doctors can be just as observers, because they are not equipped to help the body. They do just the opposite. This is how we are trained. Fortunately, my client is healing, but with difficulty, and hopefully the doctors will not insist and scare him into accepting his heart being burned. Well, medbeds will fix everything, but still he has to survive until then. He's a young kid, 20 years old. And this is how much have doctors improved his living conditions. His, I don't know how to call it even, misery. Keep away from doctors. Do exactly opposite what they recommend and you'll do just fine. Thank you for listening. Till next time. Love you all.